Good afternoon. My name is Mike Reed. I'm Dean of the College of Health and Human Performance, and the important people have allowed me to welcome you today to this reception and this introduction to the graduate programs here in our college. I want you to know how excited we are to have you here. The graduate program here is for us a source of real joy. You've all got your bachelor's degrees. Some of you already have a master's degrees. You're very highly educated people already who've been very successful in academics, and you're coming here to pursue more. This means that I've got a room full of people who care about what they're doing. You're not here because mom and dad said to. You're here because this is something you're interested in and because it'll benefit you, it'll help you succeed in your future life, and we are so pleased to be your home for the next few years. I want you to know also as the dean how proud I am to have a role in this college. These 4 departments are wonderfully effective places, and they are, that is not me, by the way, I had nothing to do with that. They're wonderfully effective places. They have outstanding research programs. So if you look at overall scholarly productivity among these 4 departments, all of them are in the top 3 against their national peer group. So these are folks who can help you become scholars and help you become scientists. The other opportunity, and this is especially true for PhD students, is that during your time here, you will get a chance to study the skills of instruction and education and curricular development as PhD students, and you prepare to go on to be faculty members. You get a chance to study how to teach under some of the best teachers at the University of Florida. So I congratulate you on your choice of coming here and welcome you to our college. Before I get off, I get to tell you a heads up or give you a reminder. Apparently there are flyers on your table. There is an HHP Go social, a party that's going to happen September the 8th. Be there or be square. This is just across the street. And so you got to figure this is a good place to come to graduate school if they start off by inviting you to a party, right? So welcome to the University of Florida, and go Gators.
The dean speaks and the thunder rolls on cue. So let's give it up for Dean Reed one more time. So good afternoon, everyone, and wow, it's great to have you here. Welcome to HHP, welcome to the Graduate Student Orientation, welcome to the University of Florida, welcome to the Gator Nation. My name is Chris Janelle, and I'm Associate Dean for Academic and Student Affairs for the college, and I'll be kind of your host for the next 50 minutes or so. As you know, as a UF faculty member, we're only capable of putting things together in 50-minute chunks. So this college portion of the show will last until 3:20, and at that point we're going to shift over to department sessions. But it's great to have an opportunity to share with you some perspectives about the college broadly, to give you an introduction to a context of your programs and the people that you're going to be interacting with over the next 2 to 4 years, maybe a little bit longer in some cases. And so before I do that, before I get into that, I want to just overview briefly what our program is going to look like today. It's also on your tables if you haven't seen it yet, but after I kind of give you about a 12, 15-minute spiel, I'm going to turn this over to Dr. Kura, who is going to share with you some perspectives on research in the college and ways that you can be engaged with the college's scholarly pursuits. He will then turn it over to Mike Fitzgerald, who is our coordinator for global engagement for the college. He's going to tell you about some exciting stuff that we've been doing and that we have on deck for international engagement and involvement and support of our international students. And then we're going to turn it over to some students. So you're going to hear from Caitlin Villani and Florian Roth, 2 of our PhD students, who will tell you a little bit about the graduate student experience from the perspective of graduate students and ways that you can be involved and engaged in the college activities and organizations. And then we'll close with some department introductions, and then I'll turn it over to the departments, and you will scatter throughout the Florida gym to individual department sessions. So again, we will wrap this up around 3:20. We'll have about a 10-minute break or so for you to shift over to department sessions and go from there. It's a little bit tough to see here, but at the end of the program, if you don't know where you're supposed to go, I actually think it's printed on your program as well, where you're supposed to go for your breakout sessions. But we'll put a slide up so you head to the right location for those. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with a little bit of an overview. And really, more than anything, what we're trying to do here is to provide, I guess, two main senses or feelings for you. That is a sense of welcome, and hopefully a sense of the ways that we are here to support you during your graduate student journeys. And you're going to hear all kinds of stuff about policies and procedures. You're going to meet people who do all kinds of different things in the college and the departments and fulfill a number of different roles. But more than anything, we want you to know that you're welcomed and that you're supported, and how to find those people and where to find them. And they're all over the place. They're sitting at your table right now. They're sitting over the tables over here, and they're scattered across the college. And if we can't answer questions for you, we know who can. So don't hesitate to track us down. Okay, I want to start off with a moment of gratitude. And I'm going to express my gratitude to this group. This is the HHP Academic and Student Affairs team. Several of these folks have been involved with putting together today's event, along with Michael Murphy, who's hiding behind the curtains back here, and a number of other folks that are neither pictured there or behind the curtains, but have done a lot to dedicate their time and effort to putting on today's events and to supporting our graduate students throughout the year. So I'm going to express my thanks to them, my gratitude to them, and I'm going to invite you to take about 15 seconds and just pause with me for a second and think about reasons that you have to be grateful for why you're here right now. Intentional awkward silence. All right. A lot of those reasons, probably the vast majority of those reasons, are people. They are people, they are circumstances, they are things that you've done. But at the end of the day, without them, without those circumstances, you wouldn't be here today. And I think it's important that we always keep in mind what we're grateful for, really before we venture on anything, whether it be a daily task list or the beginning of a new adventure in graduate school, or for those who are continuing students, a continuation of your graduate program and your graduate journey here at UF. So I also want to thank you. I want to thank you for choosing UF. As Dean Reed said, you have enormous talents, you have enormous achievements, and you have enormous promise. And you've brought all of that here to HHP and to the University of Florida, when you could have gone, frankly, pretty much a whole bunch of other places. And so we're grateful that you brought your diverse skill set and all of your gifts here to share with us and to share with each other and enrich your experience here. And I also want to congratulate you on choosing HHP as your home for your graduate education. This is a really special place, and I hope you came here with enormous expectations because they will be fulfilled. And I say that with great confidence based on the reality that we have a lot of experience doing this. We listen to our students, we listen to our alumni, and we continue to evolve our programs and our support of our programs in very intentional ways. When we survey current students and past students or alumni, our students and alumni constantly cite things like the college as being a challenging, friendly, fun, welcoming, supporting, and caring environment. These are the things that we're striving for. This is what you should come to these programs expecting to experience as a graduate student in the College of Health and Human Performance, and we will deliver. So that's a little bit about kind of maybe the touchy-feely stuff on the front side. I want to give you a couple of numbers just to back up, I guess, my statements about a diverse and enriching environment that we have here at UF. If you could capture that in a couple of numbers, I think these are reasonably good ones. We are made up of a student body that is 43% racially or ethnically diverse. We also have a 57% of our student body being women. And this is based on our spring 21 data. We'll have our fall 22 data in the coming couple of weeks. We expect that those data will represent this consistently because it has for several years now. We continue to grow, and we also continue to grow in the proportion of our enrollment that is graduate students. So we should have about 25% of our enrollment being made up of graduate students in this college, which is really a great supportive environment of fellow graduate students to rely on and lean on. And again, you're going to hear from some of them in ways that you can be involved in our graduate student organizations in the college here in a few minutes. I want to go through and talk about a couple of people and profile a couple of our students, both current students and recent graduates, to give you an idea of your company as graduate students. And hopefully you can connect with the examples here. These examples will resonate with you as you begin or continue your graduate studies here. This is Rick Hurtado. He is a Marine Corps veteran who graduated with his MS in sport management a couple of years ago and parlayed his education and his internship experiences into a role as Assistant Director of Communications for the Florida Gators. And I actually ran into Rick just Saturday night, and I'm glad I did, because Rick corrected me. This was his title last year. He has recently been promoted to Director of Football Communications. And so I ran into Rick on Saturday. I said, you know what, I'm going to talk about you on Monday. And I said, are you still doing this? He said, actually, I'm doing this now. So I intentionally had to cross that out. But Rick is a great representative of the college, doing great things over in Gator football now. And we have enormous connections, whether it be here at the university, partnerships across a wide range of corporate, industry, government, community, and academic organizations that provide enormous growth opportunities and training opportunities for our students who are heavily engaged in experiential learning. Many of them are keen to start their own business. So this is a recent grad. This is Matthew Weiss. Matt runs, he is president and founder of Weiss Fitness Incorporated, which is a personal training business in Manhattan, New York, focused on optimizing human performance for aging populations. It's a great population to work with if you're in business because, let's be frank, we're all aging. So, but Matt's doing great. He also participated in an HHP-led study abroad program to Germany. They just returned from Germany about 2 weeks ago. So a lot of our students combine their love for research with their aspirations for applied positions, whereas others are pursuing their master's degree in pursuit of their aspirations to move on to doctoral work afterwards. For example, this is Lexi Williams. She's a master's student in our Department of Health Ed and Behavior, and she is pursuing that degree while being a fitness and wellness coordinator at Rice University. And Lexi has aspirations of joining a PhD program. We're hoping that that PhD program is here at UF. This is Raven Chrysophilie. Raven matriculated from our bachelor's program up into now as a PhD student in our Department of Tourism, Hospitality, and Event Management. She also instructs courses in event management and does a wonderful job as our communications coordinator for the EFTI, which is the Eric Friedheim Tourism Institute, which is affiliated with that department. This is Grant Tace. Grant is a third-year doctoral student working with Dr. Rachel Seidler, and Grant had the opportunity to travel to Dublin, Ireland this year and present his research on human adaptation to spaceflight as a participant in the annual meeting of the Society for the Neurocontrol of Movement. Just a little side note, on the bottom right there is the Artemis rocket. If you're a space fan, the Artemis launches a week from today, actually. And so if you're new to Gainesville, if you're new to Florida, but even if you're new to Gainesville, you may or may not realize that you can see rocket launches from Gainesville. Head out to Paynes Prairie, or up on top of the stadium, and you can actually see some of the launches from here. It's actually very cool, even from however far away we are. If you can make it down to the Cape, even better view down there. Let's see, where was I? PhD students have a lot of different interests, and whether it be industry, whether it be eventually into government agencies such as NASA, or in other aspects of the corporate sector or government, our students have various interests, and we try to do our best to try to help them pursue those interests, whether they be through alternative career paths or more mainstream academic orientations. This is Elder Garcia Varela. She is a doctoral student in the Department of Health Ed and Behavior, and she aspires to a career in academia. She is a Southeastern Conference Emerging Scholar and Hispanic Scholarship Fund Scholar, and her research focuses on food and nutrition security, working with Dr. Aimee Mobley. Many of our students, and many of you, maybe PhD students, are pursuing kind of more traditional academic routes and interested in moving on to postdoc or entry-level faculty positions. This is Rojan Bonilla. Rojan just graduated in the summer, and he is accepted in an offer as assistant professor at Hawaii Pacific University, where he will be starting in just a couple weeks. So aloha, Rojan. And then I'll finish up with, this is Julian Alonzo Restrepo. Julian just graduated again this summer as well, and is beginning a postdoc position at the University of Connecticut, where he is going to be working with Husky Sport, which is a federally funded youth sport outreach program within their sport management program. So a wide range of different kinds of occupations, different kinds of career tracks, and opportunities that our students who graduate from our multiple concentrations move on to. So whether you are in our Department of Applied Physiology and Kinesiology, Health Ed and Behavior, Tourism, Hospitality and Event Management, or Sport Management, these diverse interests converge in many common ways, and they lead to very unique opportunities for our students as they leave UF and go on to do great things. You'll note that while we have wide diversity in our programs and in our students, we do have a common purpose, and that's stated up here: to collaborate as an academic community to enrich lives, influence healthy living, and enhance performance. And we do that through superior teaching, through scholarly productivity and engagement of our students directly in that scholarly activity and that research engagement. I say this every year, and every year it holds true that at least 50% of our papers that are published every year in this college, and that's a lot, have students as co-authors on those papers, recognizing their critical role in driving the research in this college. We also prioritize a climate of inclusion, as I alluded to earlier, and as you'll hear more about. And we place our program graduates, as you've seen, in excellent employment positions that are reflective of professional development opportunities and our inclusive mentoring relationships. You'll note that these aspects of the college do align quite closely with the UF values, the core values that you see in this slide, and you're going to be hearing a lot more about core values, but these core values of excellence, discovery and innovation, inclusion, freedom and civility, community and stewardship are the core values of the university that we represent within our colleges, and that hopefully you will feel on a regular basis in your interaction in your academic programs and in your co-curricular and extracurricular activities here. So in HHP, our graduate student experience is a priority that is reflected in our world-class faculty, our dedicated students, and the supportive infrastructure that we've built around here, including the historic Florida Gym, where we house a number of different labs, as well as across the way over in Yon Hall, that hopefully come together to enhance your experience here. And I'm going to close with a perspective that I offer every year through this orientation, and that is that when you look at these values and priorities, they exist for really a pretty straightforward purpose when it comes to what we do in the College of Health and Human Performance. And that is to enhance our ability to share the knowledge that we generate and the knowledge that we discuss and the important things that we do here in the college and with each other and throughout the world and various audiences that we reach through publications, through presentations, through grants, and through proliferating our disciplines with our students. And so, and you are that next generation. So this is the College of Health and Human Performance, and Health and Human Performance is who we are, and it's what we do. And so thank you again for being here. At this point, I'm going to transition the mic over to our Associate Dean for Research, Dr. Jim Kura. And Dr. Kura is going to give you a message about science. And I think Jim always has a very compelling message to share. I've seen his slides, and I'm kind of curious as to where he's going this year. But Jim, I'll turn it over to you.
Good afternoon. Welcome to HHP. And this button will work for me. As a research perspective, yes, this is me, Associate Dean for Research and a professor in applied physiology, kinesiology. And I just have a few thoughts to share with you today. They didn't give me much time, 5 minutes or less, and I know that Ben is going to turn off the camera if I go longer than 5 minutes. So we'll go right to the direct slides. And look, you've joined a college that makes an impactful contribution, multiple contributions to UF's distinction as an association for the American universities. UF is one of 65 universities in the association. It's a very select group. And this select group focuses on research, science, and discoveries. And it seems like magic, but it's real. There are different metrics that I keep track of for the dean, and I just share this slide with you today. These are publications that we've had over the past 5 years. Most importantly, there isn't a pointer on this? Okay. 2021-22, we had 233 publications, the most publications in the college ever. And a second time that we've gone over 200, we did 206 the first year of the pandemic. We dropped down a little bit last year, but look at the orange bars. The orange bars represent graduate students and undergraduate student authors. And this year we had 144 authors as graduate students and undergraduate students. That's more than 50%, and we want to keep that above 100 across time. Now, how do you do these kind of things? This kind of writing and activity? You focus on writing constantly. Can you write 10 hours a week, focusing on your specific topic, your thoughts, not texting? That doesn't count. Diligent scholars write at least 10 hours a week. We had 233 publications. They came from an extensive amount of time for clarifying thoughts, revising and editing multiple revisions, and submitting insightful publications and manuscripts for publications. Become involved in the process. Perhaps your neighbor sitting at the table, except you fellas that are all alone there, maybe they're already authors on some publication. That's great. Use an example and some previous people who have excelled. Some of my heroes have to do with Newton, Descartes, Tesla. Look, Einstein would, when he wasn't sailing on a weekend, he would rent a rowboat, lay down in a rowboat and just float around a lake in Zurich for 8 hours and think about his topics, and then go home and write most of the night and then sleep very little. Descartes mathematician and philosopher in the 1600s. He couldn't share many of his thoughts because it was contrary to the Catholic Church and the Pope's thoughts of where we were in the universe. A fantastic book on his secret notebook. And of course, Nikola Tesla, inventor, physicist, he discovered wireless in 1900, way before you have your cell phones in your pockets. But he was relevant. Closer to the 2000s, we have two Nobel Prize winners. They're heroes of mine. Eric Kandel studied learning in single cells and made a career of studying learning in single cells and sharing that in in his publications throughout his lifetime. He's 92 now. And Daniel Kahneman. Daniel Kahneman won a Nobel Prize in the early 2000s. And this is his book on thinking fast and slow about decision making. But Eric Kahneman wrote a book in 1973 that's a classic on attention and effort. And when I was just a kid in graduate school, I read Kahneman's book and have followed him throughout his career. Find a way to make a contribution. Distinguish yourself. Write 10 hours a week. And may peace be with you. Thank you.
Always inspiring, Jim. Thank you very much for that research methods and message. Our next speaker is Mike Fitzgerald. Mike is our coordinator for global engagement. He's done a remarkable job putting together some international study abroad programs as well as other programs to support our international students. And I'll turn it over to you, Fitz.
Hey everybody, good afternoon. All right, so I'm going to talk to you all about study abroad today. I know all of you are grad students, but it doesn't mean you still can study abroad, even though you're grad students. So how many of you studied abroad during undergrad? Can I get a show of hands? Any of you study abroad? Just a couple. Okay, all right. So let me just start by, I'll do a quick speech here about why I think it's important. Again, all of you should still be able to study abroad. Some of you are studying abroad right now, I suppose you could say. So yes, that's a good point. But there's a couple of really important reasons why I think students should consider studying abroad. Obviously, the first one is you really can't get this kind of experience after you graduate. You can always go on vacation with your family or your friends, but it's not the same thing as going abroad with a UF cohort and sharing that experience together. Cross-cultural competencies, so our faculty, many of whom are over there on the wall that I'll shout out later, they actually internationalize their courses. So when they teach one of the courses that's generally offered here, it's going to be taught with an international flavor when you go abroad. So for example, you might take a course where you're being taught in St. Mark's Square in Venice, as opposed to a traditional lecture hall. The other one's adaptability, transferable skills, recruiter feedback. I work a lot with recruiters, and I would say generally speaking, they really, really like to see international experience of some kind. Because we are working with a diverse and global workforce, especially in these four majors here in HHP. And then finally, I would say the faculty connection. Some of you have already chatted and met with some of our faculty today, but you really get an opportunity to get to know our faculty on a much deeper level outside of the classroom abroad. So those are some of a few reasons. Now I want to jump into some of the programs. I'll try to go through this really quickly. So this is very popular among APK students. We actually have taken some master's students, and actually we took a couple HEB students. I think Shannon is back there. Hi, Shannon. She went with us last year. But Dr. Mani, who happens to have won our UF Teacher of the Year award out of more than 5,700 faculty last year, will be leading that program. So if you are APK or HEB, you're interested in neurophysiology, biomechanics, things of that nature, this may be the program for you. This is our college-wide program. So last year we ran this in Italy. And as it happens, we have two of our faculty who I'm going to make uncomfortable right now and shout out, Dr. Garrett Beatty, Dr. Sintras Thomas over there. Professor Beatty teaches for APK, Professor Thomas for sport management, and then we have our wonderful other two faculty, Professor Osibov and Professor Grommel for health education and tourism. So this is our college-wide program, and any major in HHP can participate in this. Now you'll notice these are undergraduate courses, but we actually can create graduate sections for you all. And I don't want to get this academic policy wrong, but I believe if you're a grad student, you can actually take 6 credits of undergraduate courses in another major with faculty advisor approval. Hopefully I have that right, Sarah. So yes, this is open to all of you. We had a great program last year. We took over 40 students in Italy. This year we'll be in Paris and London. I think I'm already over time, so I'm going to go quickly. We've got Dr. Gibson's program. She's run this for 2 decades. And this program focuses on ecotourism. So she runs it in both Australia and Fiji. The Australia one's particularly popular because you'll be, part of it involves living in a rainforest, meeting koalas, going to the Great Barrier Reef, things of that nature. All sounds very fun. Okay, Dr. Beatty again, we can't stop him from running international programs. So he's going to be running one for spring break next year, actually. Usually this runs every 2 years. This is typically a graduate student focus program, so it takes about 5 grad students. And it's a partnership with a couple other US institutions along with German institutions. So this is really a cultural exchange program where you get to meet German students up and close. And then finally, new programs. So Sarah Eberhardt, who's our Director of Assessment and Student Services, and Don Shores, who's our Director of Enrollment and Operations Management, they're going to be leading a pre-health shadowing program in Cape Town, South Africa. So if that's of any interest to you, that's something we're developing. And then I'll be leading a similar program in Bangkok, Thailand. So if anybody is interested in pre-health shadowing. So those are some of the programs we have. I'm going to leave this up for a second if anyone wants to take a photo of this, but this is how you can get in touch with me, studyabroad@hhp.ufl.edu. Again, I highly encourage all of you to consider study abroad. I'm happy to talk to you about any opportunities you may be interested in to make the HHP experience special for you. All right, thanks everybody.
Okay, thanks, Mike. Again, a lot of opportunity for study abroad, but also I should emphasize that Mike, too, is a great facilitator of communication and also working through a lot of the complex policies and issues that may come up as international students. So don't hesitate to reach out to my office, don't hesitate to reach out to Fitz. We're always here to support you and certainly admire you as you come and essentially study abroad for your whole graduate programs. At this point, I'm going to hand the mic over to Florian Roth, and I don't know if Caitlin, if you're coming up as well, Caitlin Villani, and they are going to tell you a little bit about the graduate student experience from their perspective as graduate students and tell you a little bit more about ways that you can be involved as graduate students in our graduate student organizations as well as other organizations across campus. So.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Dean Reed and Associate Dean Dr. Janelle for your time and letting us present HHP Go. So it's go time for us. Yeah, you had to do that. My name is Florian. This is Caitlin. We're both the APK representatives for HHP Go, the graduate organization for HHP students. And we wanted to briefly talk about the organization. Okay, so first I'm going to be talking about the organization real quick, and then Caitlin is going to go into why we decided to be part of HHP Go and why it would be an option for you and interesting for you. So what is HHP Go? We provide academic as well as professional resources for UF graduate students in the HHP College, and it's across all our 4 departments that we represent in HHP. We're providing information for funding opportunities for travel and research, and the way we are going about this is holding networking events. For our networking events that we have planned for the semester, usually we have a lunch and learn, a de-stress event that is lined up before the semester end exams, and then social events. And the social events, if you look at your table, there is information for our first social events at social, and you should get more information on that as well through email communication. At all of our events, we're going to have snacks available. And it's going to start with a welcome back event coming up next week, I believe. So watch out for that at the front entrance. We're going to have some snacks for you guys. With that being said, I'm going to hand it over to Caitlin. Thank you, everybody. Welcome to UF, and good luck.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so what makes HHP Go pretty cool is it's a way of unifying all different students from different focus areas. As mentioned, College of Health and Human Performance encapsulates all of these different colleges, and everyone has a different kind of flavor. And so what's really cool is not only is HHP Go a place for graduate students to meet each other within your focus area, but also interact with people from other focus areas. So I'm gonna go through and introduce what people really like about HHP Go. These are representatives from HEB, Hannah and Andrea. What they're pretty excited about is the opportunity to interact with individuals in other departments. And Andrea really enjoys that she's met a lot of really close friends that are in graduate school, and they can share that experience together. And so from Fem, really enjoys the camaraderie and the colleagues that she's been able to make in HHP Go that have given her different types of support and strength as she's gone through grad school. Finally, Florian and I are representatives from APK, and we're pretty excited to plan events and meet new people within not only our department, but other departments. Florian and I both started our PhD in 2020, so in COVID, and so this is cool for us because we finally get to drive these events to help everyone meet everyone. For more information, if you're interested in just hearing a little bit more about what HHP Go is, any more opportunities to get involved, please feel free to reach out to Andrea, who is not here today, but she is the president. Our vice president is Philip Kang, and our treasurer is Brianna. Their emails are listed below, and then you can also find Florian and I later if you had any more questions about things that we have said. Thank you so much for listening to us, and we hope to see you at the welcome event that's indicated on the flyers on your table.
Thank you, Caitlin and Florian, for sharing those perspectives. And I really do want to reiterate the importance of being engaged in the immediate community that you can find within HHP Go. And so strongly encourage your involvement, stopping by for snacks, going to socials, and participating in some of the professional development opportunities that they put together throughout the year. So thank you very much to both of you. And thanks to all of the HHP Go members and the leadership. And likewise, especially to Danielle Jake Schaffman. She is a professor in the Department of Health Education and Behavior, and she is the faculty advisor for that group. So thanks to Danielle. I don't think she's here, but it's being recorded, so there we go. And likewise, if you need any of this information, again, just a reminder that this will be recorded if you need the information or you just need the inspiration. As far as information goes, these are a couple of other sources of information that I will strongly encourage you to take a look at. The one up on the upper left is the HHP Pulse. This is the weekly newsletter that we put out in the college from the Academic and Student Affairs Office. It covers all students. In fact, a lot of the stuff that's the material that's in this newsletter is good information for really anyone who has an affiliation with the college as a faculty member, staff member, or student, but it's primarily a student newsletter. But there is a chunk of the HHP Pulse that is dedicated specifically to graduate students. So do look at that weekly. We survey our graduate students, and those who engage with the Pulse really appreciate the pulse because there's a lot of good information in there. So even if it looks like it might be a little bit repetitive, skim through. There's always some new stuff in there. There's new programs. There's new funding opportunities that are announced. There's all kinds of good information in there, so please do check it out. The one on the bottom left of the screen is the new graduate student guide. As it says, it's new. It is brand new. The grad school never produced one of these, but they have produced one. It's a nice little handy guide to Gainesville, things to be engaged with outside of the college, with the graduate school, with the university more broadly, and with the community more broadly. So please do take a look at that. The graduate student handbook is next to that, the one in the middle. This is the new 22-23 edition. This is essentially your guide for your academic programs, and you are responsible for the contents of that graduate student handbook. So ultimately, it is you that is responsible for making progress in your programs, and that handbook helps you with regard to what steps you need to take, what forms you need to fill out, what your program entails, when you're supposed to hit deadlines for theses and dissertations and all that kind of stuff. So be sure that you do take a look at that handbook. If you're a PhD student in the college, we also have the PhD student handbook for HHP. Do become familiar with that document. There's all kinds of information in there that goes into much greater detail than what you will find in the university's grad student handbook. The PhD student handbook is not an official document, but it refers in many ways to the university's official documents. And so while I say you are responsible for your own progress and your own journey, we are here to help guide you and to point you to these resources and help you find the right tools. But we can't fill out forms for you in many cases. So that's why I'm telling you it is ultimately your responsibility. Do look at the new student guide and the grad student handbook are both accessible from the grad student's website, from the graduate school's website. And our PhD student handbook is accessible right from the HHP site. So I think probably you will see a little bit more of this in the department sessions. Great resources to help keep you on target and guide your journey through your respective programs. I do want to quickly mention that we're having a Welcome Back Photo Challenge. So in the college, we're all about living, working, and playing and improving the way that we do that. So on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of this week, we are challenging you to take a picture of yourself, living, working, and playing, and submitting that photo to be eligible to win an HHP swag bag. You can enter that through various social media, which is also available on the HHP site. And we encourage you to engage in social media as well, in addition to some of the resources that I've provided that are more static resources. Obviously, social is a much more dynamic platform where we push out a lot of information, including a lot of opportunities. Okay, I'm going to close by just briefly introducing our departments. You will be moving on to meet with your departments, but just to give all of you some context for the other departments and the people who are in this room and how they help to facilitate progress in our graduate programs and the overall graduate experience. I want you to see who these people are and mention them. This is our leadership in the Department of Applied Physiology and Kinesiology. Dr. David Valancourt is chair of the department. Dr. Rachel Seidler is the graduate coordinator. Dr. Garrett Beatty, who you've already been introduced to, coordinates our master's programs and is helped by Dr. Paul Borsa. And then Mike Balcom, who many of you have been in touch with if you're an APK student, is our grad program assistant. This is our Department of Health Education and Behavior Leadership Group. Dr. Mildred Maldonado Molina is chair of the department. Dr. Amy Mobley is the graduate coordinator, and Jennifer Nealons is the academic advisor and program assistant for the department. This is our Department of Sport Management. Our new chair, Dr. George Cunningham, who we recruited here from Texas A&M, is chair of that department. Dr. Cintris Thomas is the graduate coordinator. Dr. Christine Wegner is the PhD program coordinator. And CJ Falk is the graduate program assistant. And then this is our Department of Tourism, Hospitality, and Event Management leadership team. led by Dr. Rachel Fu as the department chair. Dr. Jinwan Kim is the graduate coordinator, and Jenny Nealons does double duty, serving as program assistant both for HEB, as you saw earlier, as well as THEM. With that, I'm going to stop. I don't have my watch or my phone. I think we're about right on time. So ending at 3:20. That will give you time to head back to the refreshment area, grab something for the trip upstairs into your next locations. Here they are as promised. APK, you'll be in 2:30, HEB in 2:20, SPM in 2:60, and THEM in 2:35. All of these are up on the second floor. Have a great day. Stay in touch, stay connected, and best wishes as you begin or continue your graduate journey here in the College of Health and Human Performance. Great to see you all. Go Gators.